This is our 75th annual general meeting, 75th, and my 23rd and last as your chairman. Let me start with the newsletter. After more than 7 years, Christine has decided to resign as our editor. She has done a magnificent job in revitalizing and redesigning our newsletters. She has kept members up to date with local events and activities and published members' profiles regularly. She has also published items of local history. Her contribution to the continued success of the association has been enormous. We wish her the very best. And at that note, Christine, may I present you with this on behalf of the committee.
Thank you very much.
I also want to thank Peter Davies, who is not here, who is our newsletter distributor, who takes the newsletters to various outlets, such as libraries and pubs, every month. Let me now turn on to meetings. In June, Peter Barber, Vice Chair of the Friends of Kenwood, took us on a walk around Kenwood Estate and talked about its 400-year history and the Earls of Mansfield. In October, following the 550th anniversary of the Battle of Barnet on our doorstep, historian Lester Hillman explained why this was a game changer for the monarchy, for England, and for future warfare. He took us metaphorically on the 2-day march from Smithfield to Hadley Wood, following the route taken by the army of Edward IV. In November, we heard from Emma Dagnus, CEO of Alexandra Palace, about some of its incredible history, recent achievements, the current situation, the charitable trust, and future plans for the palace. In January, we were delighted to welcome Nigel Clark onto our committee. Having taken over organising meetings from me, he has already been hard at work. His first task was to agree details with our February and March speakers. In February, we heard from the conservation architect Zara Iacopelli. She provided a fascinating and absorbing insight into the values of conservation and best practices in the maintenance and repair of heritage buildings. She also talked about listed buildings in our area. In March, an audience of over 40 enjoyed the talk by our member Alison Watson, who is here tonight, about hidden rivers in London. She focused on the Tyburn, the Walbrook, the Pack, and the Wandle, all tributaries of the River Thames. Next month, we will have a guided walk of Queenswood, led by our member Lucy Roots. Nigel is already planning our autumn talks, and we'll let you know the details very soon. Next, website. The website is now 10 years old. Over this period, it has grown to more than 60 pages of static content and 130 pages of topical news and information. The catch-up section, introduced by Alex Vincenti last year with video recordings of Zoom and live presentations to members, is proving successful, and the videos have been seen more than 200 times. Over the last 12 months, the number of visitors have kept fairly consistent at around 3,000. But what has changed significantly is the number of pages viewed during each visit. In April, visitors watched on average 1/3 more than last year. Since April 2021, our website has had about 8,000 views. While in 2022, the foreign visitors were fewer than 1 in 10, this year the number has almost doubled due to an unexplained increase in interest from China, Hong Kong, and Singapore. While most visitors come from web browsers, almost 10% are directed through the association's social media, almost double of last year. In addition, Alex has supported many committee members, including me, in various ways. In particular, regarding Member Mojo and MailChimp, the two systems the association uses, and also spending many hours updating my book, which you'll see later on. His support and advice has been invaluable. Alex, may I present you with this on behalf of the committee.
Thank you.
Right, let's move on to membership. I would like to thank Lara, who is here tonight, for the work she has done, and was sorry to see her give up the role for personal reasons. We are fortunate to be able to welcome Agnes Gomory, who took over in January. You can read her profile in the January newsletter, and here is her report. This year we welcomed an unprecedented number of local residents into membership, 10 corporates consisting of businesses and organizations, and 34 households. We now have a total of 784 members, 78 corporates and 706 households, 526 in membership. Agnes has been dealing with a growing number of members and non-members across a wide range of matters, including planning, horticulture, crime, local historical information, and much besides. We continue to promote corporate members by listing them in our newsletters and having their logo displayed on our website with a link to their own website. Our membership database Member Mojo is now able to automate our reminders, making it easier for our members to renew their subscription. A special thank you to those of you who pay by standing order and direct debit. Next, planning. During the last year, Nick Barr, who is also here, has reviewed 340 applications and submitted 5 objections. Haringey has changed the weekly planning list, which now include tree works and permitted development applications. The majority of the applications are now far smaller than in the far smaller controversial domestic schemes, and there are also fewer applications for large developments. In October, a new planning website was introduced by the Council, causing several problems. For example, some files are missing, and it's now more difficult to gauge the level of public support or opposition to an application. The following are examples of matters where we have made representations. Cranwood. The planning process for this development seems to be less than transparent. This development attracted 240 comments, mostly objections. When consent was eventually granted, one of the 30 conditions was that demolition plan be submitted and approved before demolition starts. No such approval seems to have existed, and the buildings have now been demolished. Despite regular reminders, no response has been received, and process consequently remains unclear. 189 Victoria Road. This application was refused due mainly to objections regarding crossover and front garden parking. Wood Ridings Court, Crescent Road. An application to redevelop a derelict Undercroft car park and the provision of 33 council rent homes in 4- and 5-story buildings was approved. There were 60 comments, and we decided not to object due to the need for council rent homes, which was more important than the traffic and parking issues. 26 Connaught Gardens. Following an objection by us, the proposal was out of character and detracted from the architectural style of the area. The application was refused. Next, Conservation Area Advisory Committee. John Crompton, our Conservation Officer, represents us on this committee and attends their meetings, and here is his report. This has been a mixed year. Following the closure of Lloyd's and Barclays, no further bank closures took place. We lost our much-treasured music shop, Les Aldridge, which has been trading in our high street for more than 70 years. Other shops or restaurants which closed include Greens of Highgate and Bill's. We now appear on the list, unfortunately, for sites where McDonald's and Lidl would like to open a branch. We understood that Planet Organic was We understood that Planet Organic was on the point of closing when the co-founder of the group brought some of the shops of the loss-making chain, and fortunately, Muswell Hill is one of these. We have succeeded in persuading the council to remove an unsightly black box outside the Muswell Hill Library, which is a listed building. The association responds to relevant consultation exercises on planning policy at national and international level. This year, we submitted comments on the much-delayed new national planning framework. Locally, it was anticipated that the new draft Haringey plan would have been released for consultation during the past year. However, the publication has been put back to the summer. As our Honorary Secretary, John's role has expanded this year to include coordinating the arrangements to seek and appoint a new chairman of the association. This work is ongoing. Transport. Chris White, who is also here tonight, has taken over from Tony Wells, who regretfully had to retire for health reasons. The highlights of the year are as follows. We have prompted the Council's licensing team on several occasions to enforce the pavement licenses held by Planet Organic and Ori. We made representations to the local police community team about proper enforcement of regulations regarding cycling on the pavement and the illegal use of scooters on public highways. We have raised awareness via our newsletters of how members can formally object to the experimental low-traffic neighbourhoods in our borough. Following representations from our members and from us, the pavement on Queen's Avenue has been added to the Council's schedule of repairs. At our suggestion, the Council is now considering introducing a better system whereby residents can be notified of parking suspensions on specific roads. We have also made representations to the Council regarding casually discarded line bikes and litter on highway, especially from takeaway shops. We will continue to monitor progress on all these issues. Next, environmental issues, green sites, flower beds and pocket parks. Our Environment Officer Brian Livingstone, who is here, reports. We continue to work with the Parks Department and Veolia to ensure that our green spaces are kept clean and that rubbish is removed daily. As usual, the association has funded, after receiving a good discount from Sunshine Gardens, new plants for the flower boxes and the kettle trough. Lack of convenient water supply continues to cause some issues, and water has to be drawn from the bus station in the roundabout early in the morning. The Colney hatchling beds are now well established, and we often receive positive comments from the public. We have recently planted a few new plants, and as usual, we make visits to maintain the beds. Thanks are also due to Mark Faulkner and his crew, who undertook the annual pruning of the shrubs. Brian approached the Parks Department about whether the flower beds outside Cook and by the traffic lights could receive a makeover to help celebrate our 75th anniversary. As a result, you will have seen that last month the beds were transformed with new planting and bark infill. In addition, soon 2 new benches will be replacing the old ones just outside Cook. Over the next few months, you will also see some improvements to the pocket park opposite the Village Green pub. Over the past 12 months, Brian has managed to reinstate a good working relationship with key managers at the Parks and Highways Department and with Veolia. Regular walkabouts have been reintroduced with them, and improvements to green sites have been made and are regularly maintained and kept clean. Together with the help of some members, we have undertaken a few working parties during the year, clearing brambles and tidying up the 2 entrances of the Grove Lodge garden path. Brian continues to report any issues to the Council using the Love Clean Street app. He also had several discussions with the Everyman Cinema concerning the removal of graffiti at the back of the building. This has now been done. We notified our members about the Council waste collection and cleaning consultation about bin collection, so that everybody could complete the online survey. Brian attended one of the consultations and made some comments on behalf of our members. We are still waiting for the results to be published. Let me now turn to graffiti and fly posting. We have to thank Bill Jago, who I don't think is here, Jack, is he? And Jack Whitehead, who for many years have patrolled our shopping centres, undertaking their fantastic work of removing or reporting graffiti and fly posting. Unfortunately, they have now decided to hang up their boots and equipment and retire. So Jack, may I present you and Bill with a small envelope on behalf of the committee. Would you like to pass it? Right, public relations. This task was undertaken by George Danker until just a couple of months ago, when he stepped down due to work commitments and moving out of Muswell Hill. He regularly emailed and informed members of meetings, events and other items relevant to our area. He encouraged corporate members to publicise their latest news and to offer discounts in our newsletters. He wrote articles in the Muswell Flyer. He set up a ticketing system for our Kenwood Walk. He reported various issues to local councillors. He was on the judging panel of the successful community fund for 2 years, liaised with the applicants and helped to choose the winners. We thank him and wish him well for the future. Alexander Palace Park. Duncan, is he here? Duncan, welcome. Duncan represents us at the Palace Park. It has been good to see that there has been a continued recovery from the huge impact of COVID, with an ever-increasing number of events through the year, such as the dart tournament, the firework festival, theatre runs, exhibitions and shows, the weekly park run and many others. There has also been an increasing number of creative learning projects. The Café Palais is very popular among local residents, and there is a monthly organised free cafe event for people living with dementia. Additional funding and improvements in energy efficiency mitigated some of the financial impact from the fuel prices. Experiments to improve participation in the various governing bodies, such as the creation of young trustee positions on the charity board, are underway. Members will be updated on this via the newsletter. There has been a delay in introducing car parking charges, which will be introduced in the next few months. This is the 150th anniversary of the Palace, and we wish to congratulate them on this historic occasion. There will be a free party on Saturday the 27th of May. Social media, Facebook and notice board. Zoe, who is also here, reports that in the last year the followers on Facebook have grown by 500. We now have 2,543. Zoe regularly posts and changes in Muswell Hill so that our audience learn first and from us, from our pages of any local news. This builds up trust and consequently engagement with our followers. Our Instagram followers number 1,397, having more than doubled in a year. She has been part of the 75th anniversary subcommittee and has contributed by creating a set of photographs by using Hugh Garnsworthy's collection. She is responsible for our notice board, keeping it up to date and displaying our newsletters and other items. She has also designed various posters to advertise committee vacancies and attract new members. Twitter. Duncan reports that our association Twitter account currently has 300 followers. Administrator Laura Bogdan, who is also here, another new appointment encompassing recording our minutes and supporting the financial records of members. No committee can survive without good minutes, and I wish to thank Laura not just for providing accurate minutes, but also keeping up with all of us at committee meetings by still being able to contribute to our deliberations. And this, ladies and gentlemen, concludes my report, and I will now hand over to Jacqueline, our treasurer, for your report.
Okay, talking about figures now. This year, I'm going to talk about income and expenses. The first item is total receipt, which is 6,324. Now this includes membership subscription, which is always the main source of income for this association. Then there are £61.50 of donations, and we thank the members who very generously added a little bit to their membership fee. Then along the line we've got £185. Now these are overpayments. I mean by that there are members who in error or accidentally paid their subscription twice, and we tried to track them down, unfortunately to no avail. So we keep pursuing to find them, but some of them have somehow disappeared. We have a reserve account. It's a savings account. It makes a little bit of interest. It started at 0.01, and then suddenly it increased up to 1% in February and remains that way. £285, again part of this receipts, came from the Highgate Woolnoon Kiln, and they were the first candidates and winners of the community project that we launched 2 or 3 years ago. Now, since they received, at a later part, a substantial grant from the National Lottery Heritage Lottery, they kindly said, well, why don't you have the money back, and it can be used for further community fund candidates, which was really fair enough. Now, going to expenditures, expenditure in total is £4,782 to be exact. Now, there is a long list of items that we spent, so I tried to regroup them, but details can be provided if necessary. Printing is always one of our biggest expenses. Printing the newsletters, and now we've added leaflets. We want to expand the knowledge of the association among the community. We've had some stationery and postal costs. Inevitably, with inflation, these costs have gone up, and that was part of the admin expenses. Last year we had an AGM, and expenses and bills overlapped to the budget of this year, and that represented £450. Now, this year's AGM is going to do the same, but so far we've already spent over £1,000. Community fund. We decided this year, or last year rather, to increase it to £750 as opposed to £500 the previous year. Inevitably, we've got annual contracts, and that includes the website, the insurance, the software, and the Zoom. Plants and flowers, last but not least. We spent almost £350, but that's not the rest of it. As you may have seen, the flowers on the roundabout have just been changed, and the bills are going to come to me, but that's going to be overlapped over the next budget. Electronic payments, unfortunately, come with charges, and we've got to take account of this. And it's not always easy because the fee and the charges are variable depending on whether you pay by card, debit card, credit card, depending on the bank, whether also you pay by direct debit. So we've got to take that into account because it comes to over £100 at the moment, and it may increase because we've got more payment by card PayPal coming in. Bank transfers, I don't like to keep too much into the current account for safety reasons that everyone will understand. So at the beginning of the financial year, I transferred £3,000 into the reserve account, which returned into the current account at the end of the year when the balance was already getting a little bit low. So as a result, we still managed to have a reserve for this year of just over £1,500, which will soon be engulfed very quickly with all the other bills coming in. These accounts have been examined, agreed, and certified by the Association Independent Examiner, Patricia Pearl, and you can see her signature at the back of the report.